Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. All right, let's get the awkwardness out of the way first. Yes, there is now a section on the channel that says members. Please don't all scream and shout at me at the same time. What does it mean for the content on this channel? Nothing really. So these videos that I do will always still be here. Addy and G-Man will be here. A couple of new show ideas which hopefully launch in the next couple of weeks will be here. I guess I need a bit of support to get those shows up and running. So that's part of the reason I've started the members. What will you get on the members section? So Addy and G-Man Q&A will be there. I will do a live once a week for about an hour, hour and a half. That will go on there. I'm still thinking of what to add to it to make it worthwhile. So maybe some giveaways. I've got tons of signed boxing gloves that I can give away. That will probably go on the members section. Behind the scenes at some of the boxing events will probably go there as well. Someone even asked for those lanyards. Obviously there's a few big fights I've covered. Some people like that kind of stuff. So look, it's still a working plan, but ultimately the reason I've started a members section was to get a bit of support in order to kind of push through on some of the ideas I have. Look, it's awkward. I'm not going to lie to you. I was and ahhing about doing it. And I was more leaning to not doing it, but I thought, you know what, let's just see and let's give it a go. And let's see if it's even worthwhile. Let's see if I can give enough in the members section to make it worthy or worthwhile for you guys signing up to a members section. So again, please don't all abuse me at the same time. But hopefully I can balance the both. And I think I will be able to balance the both. Hopefully you guys get enough of what you have got over the years in terms of me just doing these videos and a few more things like Addy and G-Man. And hopefully we can give you enough in the members section to make it worthwhile to part with £5. Again, I know it's difficult financially, it's difficult for people, so no pressure whatsoever. Either way, we're getting this shit done, but hopefully we can speed it up a little bit as well. There is a video up now on the member section. Addy and G-Man Q&A is up now. It should be by the time this video goes out. And also Addy and G-Man, not in the member section, is up at 12 o'clock. So again, probably by the time this goes out. All right, now that's done, let's talk some boxing. Let's see what there is to talk about today. Christian Mbili, Diego Pacheco. WBC orders purse bid for interim title fight. Love it. That's what Mbili's been begging for an opportunity. Diego Pacheco looks like he's ready to take that next step up. So I think it's a really good fight. Mbili's, he's not that he's been avoided. It's just maybe because he doesn't have a big promoter singing his praises behind the scenes. He's almost the forgotten man in that division when he could be one of the best. He could be top 3, top 4 in that division. And obviously Pacheco's been with Eddie Hearn since the beginning. And he's been sort of moved through the ranks, I think, correctly. Look, I want to see Pacheco versus Edgar Berlanga, but I don't mind if we almost get 2 semi-finals whilst we wait to see what happens with Crawford and Canelo. So I mean, Caleb Plant versus Berlanga, Pacheco versus Mbili, the winners fight each other, and then in an ideal world, and I know I'm probably dreaming, the winners of that fights the winner of Crawford Canelo. I mean, it should be that simple, but this is boxing, it never is. What to do with Alexander Usyk? All right, so Daniel Dubois has broken his silence. He did a video with Umar, that's on Box Nation's YouTube page, and he also did a video on his own Instagram as well. I don't know why it's taken so long. That's my thing with this. Once people start sort of making up things and the conspiracy theorists run wild, you need to put it to bed straight away by not just releasing a statement, because he has done that, but by doing this. He should have done this ages ago. Like, I think a few days after the fight, there should have been a sit down with someone, anyone, explaining why he pulled out. From Daniel's voice, not from Frank Warren saying it or anyone else, but from Daniel saying it. Because again, as soon as that happened, people started putting 2 and 2 together and making whatever number they wanted to make. Daniel was pulled out because they're planning the Usyk fight in the summer and blah, blah. You need to put it to bed straight away. I will say this before we get into it. I believe, having spoken to people close to Daniel, that Daniel was ill. I don't believe all the conspiracy shit that's going around. I believe Daniel was ill. And it was the British Boxing Board of Control that said, okay, you have to pull out of this fight, or at least advised him to pull out the fight. And then it was up to Don Charles, Daniel's dad, maybe even Frank Warren to kind of, okay, what do we do? And I think they made the right decision. Live to fight another day. Because if Daniel went in there against Joseph Parker, 60% fit, then after the fight said, you know what, I was ill, people would be like, you're making excuses. So look, ultimately, the right thing happened. But I think the way in which Daniel and his team have gone about it in terms of telling the public, I think they've done it wrong. Because again, you just adding fuel to the fire. You really are adding fuel to the fire. Daniel said in that interview a couple of interesting things. He said that he was sick. I think he said Thursday or Friday, which kind of makes sense when you look at the timeline, because I saw Daniel, the media public workout was Wednesday. He did a very short public workout, basically nothing, and then he just vanished. So I'm wondering if he was starting to feel the symptoms from then. And then obviously Thursday came, we didn't see him at the press conference, and then obviously it was announced. So that timeline kind of matches up. Again, it really sucks because the implications of that fight are being felt right now. Again, the question was what to do with Alexander Usyk. Well, we would have known what to do if we saw Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. So now we have 3 fighters, and it's kind of like an awkward situation as to who fights who because of Daniel Dubois not fighting Joseph Parker. Another thing that came up in an interview, I think Umar mentioned that Shane McGuigan and Don Charles have spoken about the fact that Daniel's had this type of illness in the lead up to fights before. So they need to get that sorted. Obviously, it doesn't or hasn't hampered him before, or at least we don't think it has. Because again, it's not a case of, it might not have been so severe before to the point where he had to pull out of fights. But obviously this one, the implications of this fight were so big, they're like, okay, no, fuck that. We need to kind of, unless you're 100%, you ain't fighting. Whereas maybe before he's been 80 or 70% and still won fights. So they need to look at whatever illness this is, because it's clearly something that, again, has come to the fore before. You know what's interesting about that interview? And the biggest thing I took away from it, and I think Umar did a good job on pushing him on this. I think if you were to give Dubois the choice, considering that Usyk's for an undisputed, AJ's probably more money, I think he wants the Parker fight. I think he's so pissed off with the narrative that's kind of come out of him not fighting. He's like, fuck that, I want to fight Parker. I want the Parker fight. And really and truly, that is the fight that should happen, isn't it? Like, really and truly, we should be seeing Parker versus Dubois. And we could actually see that quick because Parker made short work of Bacoli. Dubois has had a fight camp and not had a fight. I mean, you could run that pretty sharpish. That ain't going to happen, I don't believe, but that's the one that I think should happen. Again, I think of all the 3, it's the lesser in terms of money, it's the lesser in terms of everything. But I like the fact that Daniel Dubois keeps speaking about the Parker fight. He mentioned AJ, that ain't going to happen. So I do believe, like I said on yesterday's video, that we are going to see Usyk versus Dubois in the summer, Wembley Stadium or Riyadh. He did also say that he would prefer to fight in England, which I get, I understand. So yeah, again, I think the mistake was not speaking immediately, because everyone then starts running wild with ideas and theories, and you could have just shut that down immediately. Like, I felt ill, spoke to the British Boxing Board of Control. They sent me a doctor. The doctor said, okay, you're not fit to fight. Done. That's it, right? But now all of a sudden, again, people started saying, okay, was he pulled out of the fight because Usyk's there? And not at all. Daniel Dubois was favourite. It would have been a tough fight against Parker, but I think Dubois could have won and probably would have won. So I don't think that would have stopped an Usyk fight anyway. I just don't think you do that. It was too big a fight, and it damaged the card to not have that fight. So you don't damage a card to then predict a fight in the future, if that makes any sense. I don't think you do that anyway. All right, what we got here? Michaela Meyer, Sandy Ryan repeat win, unification would line up perfectly. Great fight, this one. Honestly, both girls looked in great shape. I would want Sandy to win. This is pure British bias, just because I want to see Sandy versus Lauren. But Michaela is such a good fighter as well. This is boxer puncher. Michaela is the better boxer of the two. Obviously, the Olympic pedigree is there. Sandy, I think, can crack a bit harder, I think. So it's a good fight. Honestly, good fight. This is very, very good news. I liked it as well. The IBF have ordered a rematch between Paddy Donovan and Lewis Crocker. They've ordered it. Yeah, slightly surprised, but happy. I think the IBF of all the governing bodies, they seem to be the ones that get it right. They enforce things, they stick with it, and I think they've got this right as well. I don't know how much Lewis Crocker would have wanted it. Billy Nelson certainly didn't want it, right? He was saying, no, we're going to wait for the winner now of Boots versus Stanionis. The IBF were like, no, you're not. If I'm Paddy if I'm Lewis Crocker and I watch the tape of that fight, you got to fight differently, sir. And look, fighting differently could bring its own risk, but we saw how that fight played out with you fighting that way. So you've got to fight, and I said this at the time, you've got to fight the way you fought in order to get the fight. Because that wasn't the Lewis Crocker that I've seen of recent. It certainly wasn't. So, look, I make Paddy Donovan a massive favourite, but you never know. And it does mean we're going to go back to Belfast as well for that one. And now the fight, it's not bigger. I think it's still the same. It's not like I think this controversy has made the fight bigger, but I do think this fight's going to be very intriguing. Very, very intriguing. Pat Brown fights tonight in it, this card. Pat Brown fights tonight. Good luck to him making his debut. A lot of hype around Pat Brown. Matchroom have really done a good job in terms of pushing the narrative about him, especially in that region as well. They're hoping that he can be fast-tracked to superstardom. We'll see. Jordan Flynn versus Cameron Vong as well tonight. Those two, were supposed to fight 2 years ago. And the crazy thing is, Cameron Vong's obviously, I think, had 3 fights since they were supposed to fight. And I think he's looked bad. Or he's not looked at his absolute best in all 3. So this is a very important fight, I think, more for Cameron Vong than Jordan Flynn. Cameron's the guy that Sam Jones was saying is going to be the future, and he's going to be this and he's going to be that. Not much was said about Jordan Flynn. He's got his own hype there, but nowhere near the level of Cameron Vong. So Cameron needs to look good in this fight. We'll see how that one plays out. All right, anything else? Very interesting that Jake Paul and MVP Promotions have started signing a lot of these females. And I said this, there's almost a door opening for someone just to completely sort of amplify the noise around female boxing. I think it's gone pretty quiet. Unless you're Katie Taylor-Serrano, it's gone pretty quiet. It has. And now I feel like MVP have seen that and okay, we'll sign the talent and we'll put on some of the biggest female fight cards. They've now signed Dina Torsland, they signed Ramla Ali, and I think they signed 2 more other girls as well. Obviously, they signed Alicia Baumgardner a couple of weeks ago. So they're going for it. I like it. Not mad at that at all. All right, anything else before we wrap up? Juan Manuel Marquez, one of the greats, has said he thinks 168 pounds would be too much for Terence Crawford. A lot of people are saying that. It's funny, a lot of boxers are saying that. A lot of us that have never stepped in the ring are like, no, Crawford's going to be okay. Maybe 168 will be too much. I mean, these are big jumps, 147 to 168. I know the 154 stop in the middle, but that was only one fight. He's literally jumping from 154 to 168. It's a big jump. It is a big jump. All right, guys, girls, we are done. Before we do, again, with regards to the members thing, it would have been difficult for me. I'm not that type of guy. But look, we'll see how it goes. Again, with regards to the perks, if you like, there'll be 2 videos a week, me doing a live, Addy and G-Man Q&A, and then it'll be giveaways as well, not just gloves. But I mean, it could be even giveaways to fight tickets and shit. We'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, again, don't scream and shout at me, please. Still my birthday week.